So I asked ChatGPT why you shouldn't move to Queen Creek, Arizona. So AI responded back with 5 different reasons not to move here. And I have to say, these reasons were pretty spot on. They were valid reasons. Probably something you want to know before moving to Queen Creek. So today we're going to break down these 5 reasons that ChatGPT said not to move to Queen Creek. And we're also going to be addressing one of the biggest issues or one of the biggest questions people have moving here, and that's water supply. I am Courtney, your local realtor, here to share all things Phoenix. And if you have any questions about buying, selling, or relocating, reach out. I'm here to help. But let's get back to ChatGPT's reasons not to move to Queen Creek, and we're going to address reason number 5, and this is a long commute. Queen Creek has grown like wildfire. It's actually pretty amazing to see the growth here. You have a lot of local Phoenicians moving further out into the burbs and electing Queen Creek as their home. And then you also have a very large population of people migrating here from different states to live in Queen Creek. But the thing to note is that Queen Creek is not central at all. It's in the very southeast corner of the greater Phoenix area. Now, we are seeing more and more people either working from home or remotely, or they're commuting to neighboring suburbs like Chandler, Mesa, even Tempe. So being so far on the outskirts of town isn't problematic for a lot of people living here. However, if you are planning on commuting to Phoenix, like let's say downtown Phoenix, keep in mind that is a hefty long commute. Now, Google Maps does say it takes 45 minutes to an hour and 25 minutes to get to and from downtown Phoenix from Queen Creek. But I'll be honest, if you're driving home during rush hour in the afternoon, it's probably gonna take you closer to that hour and 25-minute mark. It is highly unlikely that you would actually get home in 40 minutes. But like I said before, if you don't have to commute to Central Phoenix, being this far on the outskirts of town may not be a deal breaker for you. But let's go to reason number 4, and this is limited entertainment and amenities. Now, as I mentioned before, we've had very recent growth in the Queen Creek area, but historically, Queen Creek has been known to be more of a rural community. In 2010, actually, the population was only about 25,000 people, and now it's just shy of 80,000 people. That is wild growth. But when you compare Queen Creek to some of the other suburbs that are much more established like Scottsdale, Tempe, or even Chandler, there's definitely not as much to do. Recently, Queen Creek has made a valiant effort to have more restaurants, shopping, entertainment options for families. I mean, the Queen Creek Marketplace is a perfect example of just the growth that we've seen in the past few years in the city. There's also been a lot more family-oriented developments. We have so many beautiful parks, splash pads. And most recently, we had a rezoning approved for a planned outdoor family fun center. And this is gonna have electric go-karts, zip lines, mini golf, and even a wave pool. So there's definitely some good things in the works here in Queen Creek. But if you're a young business professional or just want to be closer to an area that has entertainment, nightlife, concerts, Queen Creek might not be for you. But let's jump to reason number 3, and this is limited employment and job opportunities. Now, this is the one reason that ChatGPT provided that I don't know if I fully view this as a reason not to move to Queen Creek. And let me explain. Now, Queen Creek does offer a lot of local job opportunities and has seen quite a bit of job growth. Some of the industry leaders include education, retail, and then some healthcare positions as well. But overall, Queen Creek doesn't have a lot of the big industry leaders that we see in the greater Phoenix area, like let's say Chandler, Gilbert, or even Mesa. However, the unemployment rate in Queen Creek is actually quite low. It's 3%, which is fair amount below the national average. As Queen Creek has grown, the average household income in Queen Creek is actually $136,000. And then 15.6% actually earn above $200,000 a year. We do know that a lot of these high income earners do have jobs outside of Queen Creek. Unfortunately, I just don't have the numbers to tell you how many people actually do work outside of Queen Creek. So overall, if you are planning on relocating to Queen Creek and you don't have a job set up yet, just keep in mind that the variety of jobs in Queen Creek might not be a lot. There are still jobs, it's just more of the variety of jobs might not be as prolific. But if you are willing to commute to one of the neighboring suburbs, you don't even have to commute far. You're going to have a lot more options available for you. So ChatGPT's second reason not to move to Queen Creek was actually having lack of diversity or homogenous population. Now, as a realtor, I do have to be conscientious and careful when talking about demographics, mainly because of fair housing laws. But what I can share with you is the data. So let's look directly at the numbers. So this is from the US Census Bureau, and you can see it's about 51% female. Now, 30.5% are actually under the age of 18. So we have a lot of kids in Queen Creek. And as far as racial makeup, 82.9% are white, Black or African American make up about 3.6%, and 14.1% were Hispanic or Latino. So when you compare these numbers to, let's say, Phoenix proper, I would say you are seeing more of a homogeneous population in Queen Creek compared to Phoenix proper. So based on these numbers of what we're seeing in Queen Creek from the US Census Bureau, this does reflect what ChatGPT shared. Now we're gonna jump to reason number one, why not to move to Queen Creek, and this is water supply. Arizona is definitely making a valiant effort to preserve and protect our 100-year water supply. And as a result, the plans for development is going to be a much more rigorous process because developers have to prove that they have water supply for 100 years before they're allowed to build. But the challenges and the hurdles that come with protecting this 100-year water supply definitely changes between different communities or cities in the Phoenix greater area. Some of the more established or central communities like Mesa, Gilbert, Scottsdale, they've already proven that they can meet this 100-year water supply requirement. But something to keep in mind is the water portfolio does change in these different cities too. So where they're getting their water, the sources of water change a little bit more from these central locations than these areas more on the peripheral like Queen Creek. So some of these more central areas, they have water rights to the Colorado River, they have some stored water, and then they do use some groundwater. Where these areas like Queen Creek on the peripheral, they rely more heavily on groundwater and don't have as much access to these other water sources. Currently, as of 2023, Queen Creek has 10,000 lots that have been approved and the water supply has been accounted for. Queen Creek is currently very actively trying to figure out this water issue. They're putting out a lot of money to figure out how to more effectively import water. So does that mean development is going to stop? Haley Paul, the policy director for Audubon Southwest and AZ, she summarized that development isn't necessarily going to stop, but, quote, it's being more dialed in with where growth could go. However, it ultimately is going to cost money to ensure water and necessary supplies. So it wouldn't be surprising to see prices for these new homes go up as Queen Creek is trying to ensure this 100-year supply for new developments. Now, there really is so much more to the water supply issue in Queen Creek and in Phoenix in general. And I really do encourage people to do your research when buying a home or trying to determine what suburb or area you might want to move to. But keep in mind, there are a lot of sources out there that can be quite misleading and definitely driven by some fear-mongering tactics. So just keep in mind when you are doing your research, look for credible resources and not some just random YouTuber, except me. But if you guys do want to learn more about Queen Creek, I do have this video right here talking more about some of the positives and just general life in Queen Creek. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I hope you have a fantastic day.